Santa Clara doesn't sleep when the season flips the page. There's a combine detail that looks tiny at first glance, but it can tilt an entire offense. And there's some behind-the-scenes chatter that could mess with the identity of this defense. In the middle of all that, the clock is screaming. Either you go all in on right now, or you build for what's next. And sometimes you can pull off both. I'm going to show you where the Niner gang can steal an edge here. And at the end, I'll connect one piece that almost nobody is lining up. Would you buy into that? Drop your thoughts, and make sure you hit like and subscribe. What's the biggest urgency today? A Stanford tight end is already on the 49ers' radar before he's even stepped onto the field in Indianapolis. Sam Roush. While everyone's glued to the 40 and the jumps, Kyle Shanahan and this staff put real weight on the interview room, and Roush getting that kind of attention matters. That's not just a polite chat, that's a tell. Roush is being viewed as one of the top tight end prospects in this class, and he fits what San Francisco has always valued at the position, a true inline Y who can block and still give you legitimate receiving value. And the timing of it couldn't be louder, because George Kittle is coming off an Achilles tear from the playoffs, and that alone puts his 2026 availability in question. He's heading into his age 33 season. Nobody in the faithful wants to say it out loud, but the NFL doesn't care about our feelings. Bodies change, careers shift, and good teams prepare before the emergency shows up. That's the dilemma that's going to split the fan base. Do they trust that Kittle comes back as Kittle, or do they start building the next answer right now? Ignoring it is an emotional decision. Planning for it is a football decision. If you were John Lynch, do you spend a day 2, day 3 pick on a tight end as a safety net? Or do you ride with 85 and hope the story stays perfect? Roush's 2025 production at Stanford is real. 49 catches, 545 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's not just blocking tight end production. And the evaluation vibe around him is basically pro-ready blocker, capable receiver, not a twitchy yards after catch monster underneath. NFL.com's prospect score on him is a 6.23, which puts him in that average starter tier, and he's been compared to Dawson Knox. That's the kind of player who can actually get on the field early in this system, especially when the Niners love using tight ends as extra protectors, leak routes, and run game leverage. Two paths show up fast. If they draft Roush, the offense keeps its identity even if Kittle has to miss time. Heavy personnel, play action, and that physical edge that forces defenses to play honest. But if they pass, and Kittle isn't ready, or isn't the same guy right away, suddenly you're forcing the playbook into shapes it doesn't naturally want to be. And that's how teams lose their advantage without even realizing it. Think about it for a second. The quietest combine meeting can end up being the most important one. And while the offense tries to protect the future, there's a defensive name floating around that could change the division math in a hurry. There's a type of player who doesn't always light up highlight reels, but shows up every time the opposing quarterback feels footsteps. That's why the Boye Mafe conversation is worth tracking. The 49ers are expected to prioritize defensive line help this offseason, and Mafe is one of the more intriguing free agent possibilities because of who he is and what he represents. He's familiar. He's a former Seahawks edge rusher, and that matters because he's seen this offense, this tempo, and this scheme up close. He'll be 28 when he hits free agency for the first time, prime years, and coming off a championship run, he's likely looking at this as his best shot at a major payday. The tricky part is the stat line. Last season, he only had 2 sacks, and if you stop there, you'll talk yourself out of it quickly. But he generated 44 pressures, and pressures can tell you what sacks don't. Consistency, disruption, forcing the quarterback off his spot. He's shown higher-end production before, too. 9 sacks in 2023 and 6 in 2024. The dip last season looks more tied to role and rotation than he forgot how to rush. Seattle rotated a lot up front, which can flatten sack totals even when a guy is winning. For San Francisco, adding him wouldn't just be depth. It would change how they can deploy the front. One point being made is that it could give Michael Williams more chances to slide inside, where he can be disruptive, while keeping the edge rush fresh and threatening. Now comes the real choice. Pay for upside or keep shopping? SpotTrack projects something like 3 years, $36.7 million, a little over $12 million a year. That's not pocket change, But it's also not the kind of deal that paralyzes a roster if you truly believe the fit is there. The bigger issue might be competition pushing the price up. So here's the comment question for the faithful. Does paying for pressure, even without flashy sack totals, excite you or worry you? Because if Mafe hits, it's a stabilizer. If he doesn't, you've spent real money in a league where every dollar has to win. And while that's playing out, there's another decision pulling hard in the opposite direction. Protect Brock Purdy and the run game now, even if it means getting older up front. A lot of people keep framing the offensive line as just find a left guard, but that undersells what's actually at stake. This is about protecting the entire window while it's still open. When the line is shaky, a quarterback doesn't just take hits, he speeds up. Timing gets rushed. Red zone execution gets choppy. 3rd and long turns into a survival drill. That's why the Joel Bitonio projection is so interesting. ESPN's Aaron Schatz has floated Bitonio as a potential free agent signing for San Francisco. He's 34, he's spent his whole career with the Browns, and Spotrac values him at around $10.3 million per year. The eye-popping part is the win rates. He ranked 3rd among all guards last season with a 96.4% pass block win rate, and his 72.3% run block win rate was above average. That's not name value. That's performance. From a pure football standpoint, dropping Bitonio next to Trent Williams, who's 37, assuming the Niners and Williams can sort out the contract situation, could turn the left side into a statement. You'd be talking about a run game that can lean into its best self again, especially when Christian McCaffrey is at his most dangerous behind a physical edge. But the age math is the uncomfortable part. Are the 49ers really willing to build the left side around a 34-year-old guard and a 37-year-old tackle? Here's the thing. The upside is obvious. Bitonio has been durable. The last time he missed a game was 2023, and it was only 2 games. The last time he played fewer than 10 games in a season was all the way back in 2015. That kind of reliability is gold when you're chasing a playoff run and trying to keep an offense consistent week to week. But there's another path. Go younger. Elijah Vera Tucker is an example of a younger option if they want to prioritize long-term stability at left guard. That choice comes with its own risk profile, its own cost, and its own domino effect. So let's keep it simple. If you're sitting in Lynch's chair, do you take the veteran safety and try to maximize right now? Or do you go younger and accept more uncertainty this season? Because the answer changes everything about how this team looks in September. And even if they nail the protection, none of it matters if the defense can't finish plays. That's why the draft angle is getting louder, and one name in particular has started to line up with the Niners' reality. If one thing is true, it's this. If the 49ers don't fix the pass rush, they're going to keep paying for it in January. That's why Akeem Mesidor is a real draft conversation. The 49ers met with the former Miami defensive end at the NFL Scouting Combine in Indianapolis, per NBC Sports Bay Area, and it fits exactly with what's been said publicly. Improving the pass rush is a top priority. Mesidor is being projected as a late first-round pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, which lines up with San Francisco sitting at number 27. And it's not like the Niners are the only ones sniffing around. He also confirmed meetings with the Cardinals and the Rams. In other words, this isn't just draft talk. This is divisional business. Passing on him could mean facing him twice a year. The urgency is backed by a brutal number. The 49ers finished with 20 sacks in 2025, the fewest in the entire NFL by a wide margin. That's not a small tweak, that's an identity problem. Mesidor's college resume is stacked. He started at West Virginia from 2020-2021, transferred to Miami from 2022-2025, and across 65 career games, he totaled 208 tackles, 52.5 tackles for loss, 35.5 sacks, 4 passes defensed, and 5 forced fumbles. In 2025 specifically, he had 63 tackles, 17.5 tackles for loss, 12.5 sacks, and 4 forced fumbles. And those 12.5 sacks led the ACC and were among the national leaders. That's production you can build around. But the choice is real. Using a first-round pick on an edge rusher means something else waits. Offensive line, secondary, depth. It's the classic roster-building tension. 2 scenarios. If they take Mesidor, they inject youth and juice into the rotation and give themselves a chance to close games again. If they don't, They're betting that other moves, free agency, development, scheme, can replace something that was missing all season. And that's a risky bet. John Lynch put it plainly in Indianapolis. The team wants to get better and needs to put the quarterback down. That's the core. That's the truth. And it ties right back to everything else happening around this roster. My view is pretty straightforward. The piece that connects all of this is the pass rush. If San Francisco starts putting quarterbacks on the ground again, the offense can breathe. You can be patient with Kittle's recovery. You can develop a guy like Roush without panic. You can chase a Bitonio-type solution without acting like it's life or death. That's why, if it were up to me, I'd prioritize Mafe or Mesidor and let the rest of the plan orbit around creating consistent pressure. But I also wouldn't ignore the tight end contingency, because Achilles injuries and age don't negotiate. The NFL doesn't wait. January charges interest on every snap you spend without pressure today. So what's your move? Do you bet on the now, or do you protect the next chapter? Drop your answer in the comments and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next update.